incredible run of results, we find ourselves in first place in the Premier League table, almost at the halfway stage. But with only £4 million to spend, heading into the January transfer window and a bucket load of games still to play, we're going to be asking some big questions of this squad if we want to maintain our title challenge. And today we are kicking off with what is going to be the biggest game of this season so far, and that is a game at home against the first and second place teams in Southampton and Manchester City. Oyarzabal on the left-hand side for Manchester City. Oh, beautiful footwork to get away from the defender, get away from two defenders, and he gives it to Kevin De Bruyne within the space of 5 minutes. He fires Manchester City into a 1-goal lead. Well, it was some fantastic work on the left-hand side from the winger. Look at this fancy footwork. Gets away from two of my defenders, and when you give Kevin De Bruyne that much time and space, he will make you pay. And he lashed the ball with his left foot past the goalkeeper to give City an early lead. Jeremy Doku finds Renato Sanchez, who's got a habit of picking up really nice pockets of space, but then goes and gives the ball away very cheaply here, and Almiron can stretch away. He's got an option on the left-hand side if he can find it, but he looks for Haaland over the top. Somehow Haaland is not offside, but he's managed to muscle away from Livramento. Lovely footwork, and Kevin De Bruyne is there again. He's on hand to give City a 2-goal lead. Well, we are falling apart right in front of my eyes here. Haaland completely outmuscled Livramento, and again Kevin De Bruyne in pretty much the exact same position, picked up a beautiful pocket of space ahead of Joe Gomez, who really has been sensational so far this season, but not today. And it's Manchester City 2, Southampton 0. Livramento with the throw finds Renato Sanchez again, gives it to Broja, tried to give it to Broja, who's in for Onuachu, who's heavily fatigued as he's played in pretty much all of my games so far, and already we are missing him as Manchester City go in search of their third goal. Almiron now has it, into De Bruyne, the two-time goal scorer. Haaland strikes from distance and forces Bazunu into a smart stop. Sanchez into Jeremy Doku, who's been pretty quiet in this opening 20 minutes. Lovely pass back into Renato Sanchez. He finds Broja. Broja just skips away from the challenge of the defender, goes into the box, looks for options. Can he find any options? He almost finds Sulemana, who's been dragged down by the Manchester City defence. And we have a leg back into this game, as it's going to be a Southampton penalty. Well, it was a definite penalty. There can be no complaints whatsoever. What on earth was that defender doing? And it's Guendouzi who has the opportunity to step up here from close range to get us back into the game, and he sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. It is Southampton 1, Manchester City 2. Rodri for City into De Bruyne yet again, picking up a lovely pocket of space. Bentancur, the former Spurs man, finds himself in an advanced position, but Guendouzi comes across. He's been put under a lot of pressure, but just about manages to get it away. Lovely stuff from Guendouzi into Renato Sanchez. He's got options on the right-hand side. Finds Jeremy Doku, who's got acres of space to run into down this right-hand side. Can we strike back? Get ourselves back on level terms immediately. And Broja tried to head it over, just loop it over Ederson, but he was onto it. Oyarzabal again on the left-hand side. Tries to float a ball into Haaland, and luckily enough, Bazunu was there just in the nick of time. Broja's got Doku on the right-hand side. Lovely ball, and Doku once again has acres of space to run into. Finds Kamaldeen Sulemana, who finds the back of the net. And in a blink of an eye, Southampton Football Club are back on level terms. Well, what a scrap between the two top teams this is turning into. And what a lightning counter-attack yet again. Kamaldeen Sulemana, who has been on fire for us so far in Season 3, is on hand to level the scores and bring us right back into this game. 2-2. Goal scorer Kamaldeen Sulemana picks it up again. He looks for Truffert on the left-hand side. Really nice play. Truffeur's got options ahead of him. Finds Broja. Broja's going to turn into Renato Sanchez, who strikes with his left. And it's just wide of the target. Renato Sanchez just twisting away from Kevin De Bruyne really nicely and finds Guendouzi in a pocket of space. And he's got an option of Kamaldeen Sulemana on the left-hand side. He finds him. Sulemana to try and put it across back into James Ward-Prowse, into Renato Sanchez. And oh my word, it is unbelievable. We have turned this game on its head. From 2-0 down in the opening 10 minutes to 3-2 up here in the second half. And it is that man, Renato Sanchez, who once again steps up to the plate when I need him to. Lovely finish, just bent it round both the defender and the goalkeeper. And somehow, some way, we find ourselves in the lead here at St Mary's. Oyarzabal for City to try and bring it forward, but Bella Kotchap reads that one brilliantly, and we really do have our tails up here, and it's Renato Sanchez yet again to skip away from Kevin De Bruyne and play a lovely ball into Jeremy Doku. It hit his back. Somehow, he didn't seem to see it in City now. Can go again. Rodri for City. They've definitely stepped it up a notch here. They've definitely started pressing higher, and that's a beautiful ball, but Bella Kotchap's there reading it well again. Fantastic stuff but we give away a free kick in a dangerous position. And of course, it looks like it's going to be Kevin De Bruyne who's going to step up here. It's a wonderful position for him to strike. And that man makes no mistake. When you give him that sort of opportunity, he gets his hat-trick for Manchester City. Well, it was a silly free kick to give away, and look at this, 20 yards out from goal. That is absolutely beautiful finish. Bazunu with absolutely no chance. He just lifted it right perfectly over the wall into the top left-hand corner. And with that quality in their squad, City get themselves back on level terms. Kamaldeen Sulemana, Onuachu is now on as a substitute in place of Broja. And we go again. It's Truffert to drive into the box. Looking for Renato Sanchez, can't find him. Guendouzi can't get there first. And again, City now can break. Phil Foden on the right-hand side. He's got Haaland up ahead of him. But Phil Foden keeps hold of the ball and looks for Almiron. Oh, beautiful challenge from Joe Gomez. James Ward-Prowse into Kamaldeen Sulemana. Back into James Ward-Prowse. We've got men over here. And it's Renato Sanchez. I was looking for Skov Olsen. Onuachu blazes it high and wide. Sunu under a bit of pressure here from Haaland. Manages to wriggle away from it. Bella Koch about to Truffert on the left-hand side. We're trying to build from the back here. Kamaldeen Sulemana into James Ward-Prowse. He's got a run of Onuachu. He finds the run of Onuachu. Onuachu to finish. He doesn't. James Ward-Prowse will though. And he puts us 4-3 up here with just 5 minutes remaining. Well, oh my word. This is turning into the biggest ding-dong battle of the season so far. James Ward-Prowse on hand to just pass it into an empty net. He gets his first goal of the game. And he brings us back into the lead. Guardiola can't believe it. It's 4-3. We have stoppage time here to try and hold on to this lead. I'm just going to play keep ball at the back here and hopefully just try and see if Manchester City leave any gaps open. And it looks like they have, as James Ward-Prowse is in acres of space. He finds Kamaldeen Sulemana on the left-hand side, but I'm not going to go for glory. I'm going to take it to the corner flag. Just hold up Klosterman on the right-hand side. Referee, blow your whistle. We're miles over the time. And the referee does blow his whistle. Well, Kevin De Bruyne will collect the match ball after a sensational performance for him. But it was not enough for Manchester City, as in what was the game of the season without doubt. The two teams at the top of the table collided and Southampton come away the victors. 4-3. Well, James Ward-Prowse's dramatic late goal definitely sealed a Southampton win, and it sealed a 5-point gap at the top of the table to Manchester City with 17 games played. But as I said before, with only £4 million in the bank and no opportunity to try and improve this squad in the January transfer window, it's going to be a mammoth task if we want to stay at this position for the remainder of the season. One piece of business we do need to take care of though is the contract of Kyle Walker-Peters, which expires in less than 6 months. And at 83 rated, I think he's a pretty decent backup and competition for this man Tino Livramento. And so with that in mind, I have delegated his renewal, and it looks like he will agree another 3-year contract with the club to keep him here for the foreseeable future. It's now time though to see if we can continue this rich vein of form as we head over to the City ground to play an 11th place Nottingham Forest. And frustratingly, we can't take the positive momentum of that Manchester City game into this one, as in spite of 2 goals yet again from Onuachu and Kamaldeen Sulemana, it is not enough. And we level the scores 2-2 to only get a point. And in spite of Skov Olsen getting back on the score sheet with a goal early doors in the first half, it's another draw, 1-1 against Wolves. Fortunately enough though, in spite of a late penalty missed by Onuachu and a red card it seems for Livramento, we managed to get ourselves back in the win column with another 3-0 battering, this time against Fulham. And following on from our incredible success in the FA Cup last season, the board are seemingly very keen for us to do the same thing again. And that means it's time for us to play our second played game of the episode, as we've been drawn a very tough draw against Newcastle United in the 3rd round. Quinton Timber, as you can see, I've gone for a heavily rotated Newcastle team, and judging by that pass you can tell that all of my players perhaps are lacking a little bit of match fitness, but St Just with a lovely challenge to win the ball back high up the field. And again, Quinton Timber, who was a mainstay in the starting 11 last season, but since the arrival of Renato Sanchez he has lost his place, and he's proving maybe that he does need a run of games as Lavia picks up the ball on the edge of the box, dinks it in looking for Alcaraz. Not a good ball, not a good head. Newcastle get it clear. St Just just skipping away from the challenge of a Newcastle striker over to Kyle Walker-Peters in acres of space on the right hand side. He finds Skov Olsen. Skov Olsen strikes with his left and off the post. What a way that would have been to open the scoring here today. Gomez out to Kyle Walker-Peters on the right hand side. Skov Olsen yet again. Those two linking up very nicely so far in this game. Alcaraz with a beautiful ball right back into the path of Skov Olsen, who's just skipped away from the defenders. Skov Olsen looks across for Broja. It was a poor pass. Too late. Alcaraz again out wide to Adouzi, yet again who's picked it up. He's going to strike from distance. That looked a lot more promising than it turned out to be, and it was an easy save for Dubravka in the end. Alcaraz Nice pull round the corner into Carl Walker-Peters. Brozier into Quinton Timber. And again, a big chance goes begging. Well, it's been all Southampton so far in this first half. And yet again, we stride up the field here. It's Ruud van Yilmaz on the left-hand side. Goes back into Quinton Timber, who tried to turn. Turned too late, and Newcastle get it clear yet again as the referee blows for half-time. Going to be our first corner, and the first corner of the game here that Quinton Timber is going to throw into the box. It's a good ball in, looking for the head of St. Just. Couldn't quite find it. Lavia will get onto it though, and he heads it down for Scovolson, who takes it down really nicely, and he's got space to run into. Tries to dink a ball into the box. And it was just over the head of Brozier, and it's headed away yet again from Newcastle. Hayden to try and drive through the centre, but that's a lovely ball into the path of Guedes, who's just skipped away from Joe Gomez. He's got the pace to get away, and Bazunu just didn't come out, even though I was smashing the triangle button for him to do so. And Guedes, from nowhere, gives Newcastle a 1-0 lead. Well, it's been all Southampton so far in this game, but Newcastle caught us napping, and that is a beautiful finish from Guedes. Just chipped it over the goalkeeper, gave him no chance, and Newcastle take an unlikely lead. Ruud van Yilmaz with lots of space to run into, finds Quinton Timber in the centre of the park, and he finds a wonderful ball into Brozier. Brozier's got an option of Alcaraz. Alcaraz gets us back into this game. Newcastle absolutely defensively nowhere to be seen. It's 1-1. Well, with us back on level terms, the big boys are coming on. Kalmadine Suleimana, Jeremy Doku on, and hopefully we can try and get the winner here. Longstaff into Ashby on the right-hand side. Newcastle just starting to come to life here. Just as I say that, that was a horrendous shot from Rodrigo and a big opportunity for Newcastle that they miss. Gundogan into Lewis on the left-hand side. They find Guedes again. He certainly has been the danger man for them, and that is a beautiful ball, and it's an even better save from Bazunu, who was out and alert. Brozier wins that one well. Jeremy Doku now to try and strike a counter-attack here. We've got options up ahead. Can he find a ball into Kalmadine Suleimana? Not the best ball, but somehow Kalmadine Suleimana almost got there. And again, I thought he was going to get there, but for some reason he just decided to stop running. And that was a big opportunity there that we did not take advantage of. Newcastle go again. It's Guedes. Things are really starting to heat up here in the final 5 minutes of the game. And St. Maximin with a big shot. And it's another big save from Bazunu. Well, this surely is going to be the final attack of the game. We've just got to keep things tight here. It's thrown into the box, headed down by Rodrigo. Newcastle still have the ball. We've got to make sure they don't get it into the box, but they do just as I say that. It's Romo here who has it for Newcastle. Rodrigo on the left-hand side, dinks the ball in. Salazu gets it away with his head. Good defending. Timber this time gets it away. And Jeremy Doku can't get there first as the referee blows for full time. Well, adding another game to the calendar was ideally not something I planned to do. But as you can see, there's no rest for the wicked, and we are straight into the replay in our very next game. Well, as you can see, I took the risk to sim the game, but it was a risk that was well worth taking as we batter Newcastle 3-1 with my attacking trio of Jeremy Doku, Kalmadine Suleimana and Onuachu, of course, all getting on the score sheet. And the irony is we then play Newcastle yet again for the third game on the bounce, this time in the Premier League, and this time we suffer a loss. They get revenge and they beat us 2-1. And with Arsenal up next, I was hoping that wouldn't be the start of a very slippery slide, but as you can see, it most definitely wasn't. In spite of Onuachu missing a late penalty, we get another 3 points in another big 3-2 win against them. But with Manchester City making big money signings in the January transfer window, and for some reason us now only having £2 million to spend, somehow we still sit top of the Premier League table, but it is going to be an almighty ask for us to stay there for the foreseeable future. For now though, we turn our attention back to the FA Cup, and it's a professional job against Reading in the next round. A goal from Brozier and Onuachu seals our path to the 5th round. But as we get to the end of the January transfer window, and with other big clubs around us making some huge January signings, I wanted to take a quick look at my own squad to see how my players are developing, and as you can see, Matteo Guendouzi has well and truly established himself as our #1 and best rated player in our squad, up to 87. A fantastic rating for him, with Jeremy Doku coming on leaps and bounds this season. He definitely has that something special, and he's up to 86. Kalmadine Suleimana is the man to keep your eye on though, up by 3 to 85 overall, and that is well and truly reflected in his stats as well, as he is our highest goal scorer at the halfway point of the season. 16 goals to his name, 5 assists in what has been an absolute electric season for that young man. Of course, Onuachu finds himself in second place, 15 goals goals, 11 of those coming in 21 Premier League appearances. But this man, Renato Sanchez, up to 84 overall, chipping in with 8 goals, 6 assists in a fantastic campaign for him. And the good times just keep on coming as Brozier, looking to take the fight to Onuachu for that starting spot up front, gets a goal late on, as does of course Kalmadine Sulemana, to give us another 2-0 win, this time against Brighton, and another 3 points. And with us still somehow, some way being in first place in the Premier League, now leading Manchester United, who are in second place, we are going to head into our final game of the episode at home to a Tottenham Hotspur team who for whatever reason this season are having an absolute shocker and find themselves in the bottom half of the table. Tina for Spurs, out to Neymar Jr, who now finds himself plying his trade for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. What a turn of the events for that man, as Richarlison, his Brazilian counterpart, picks up the ball. Udogie skips away from the challenger. Bella Kotchap continues his run into the box, into Neymar. It's off Richarlison. It's out for a corner. Going to be Udogie who's going to be taking this throw for Spurs, and it looks like he's going to go long into the path of Neymar, who I still can't believe plays for Spurs. And Richarlison into Vitina, and he does give Spurs the 1-0 lead. Well, perhaps I was caught napping there in my utter disbelief that Neymar is now plying his trade for Spurs, and my defence certainly were, as it's a wonderful finish from Vitina. Just powered it past Bazunu at the near post. Could he have done better? Perhaps he could have done, but it's not enough, and Spurs take the lead. Onuachu's come deep to try and pick this up and get himself involved in the game, as he's not really been having too many touches. Jeremy Doku with acres of space though tries to feed a ball into Sulemana. Mahrez into Richarlison. Richarlison trying to skip away from the challenger by defenders, but Bella Kotchap is there ahead of him. Good defending. We get the ball clear. Renato Sanchez now just trying to lift it over into the path of Jeremy Doku. It's a wonderful ball, and he has got the pace to try and get away from the defenders. Jeremy Doku skips into the box, tries to go past Doji. He reads it really well, and Spurs go clear again. Vermento finds Doku on the right hand side. Doku into Onuachu. Onuachu's going to try and find Renato Sanchez. Back into Doku. Tries to get away from the defender. Can't. Neymar will pick this one up for Spurs. Twisting, turning, using that fancy footwork to get away from Renato Sanchez. And he does it again, and that is some beautiful link-up play between himself and his other Brazilian friend Richarlison. Neymar to bring the ball forward. Spurs have got options up ahead of them. Neymar keeps going into Vitina. Mahrez. Great save from Bazunu, and we are hanging on by a thread here. Mahrez now for Spurs. Skips away from the challenger Bella Kotchap beautifully and continues his run down the right hand side, but he turns, goes infield for Vitina, the goal scorer. He drives into the box and tries to strike again, and Bazunu is yet again on hand to keep us in this game. Jeremy Doku is going to try and lift it over into the path of Onuachu. That is a beautiful ball into Onuachu. He gets away from 2 defenders, and that is a brilliant save from the goalkeeper. Our best chance of the game so far. Well, hopefully we're going to start this second half better than we did the first. And it was a ball over from Guendouzi, headed away. Sulemana to pick up the volley. Another big save from the goalkeeper. Sulemana yet again to take the corner here. Flings it into the box, looking for the header. Joe Gomez doesn't quite find it. James Ward-Prowse will pick this ball up. I still don't understand why he's not taking them. I need to make sure I change that, as I keep forgetting. Whips it back in. Not good enough. Headed away by the Spurs faithful. And a Kotchap over to Truffaut, who took that one really well. James Ward-Prowse looks for Onuachu ahead of him, finds him. Onuachu, really nice stuff there. Good build-up play. Truffaut back into Sulemana. Sulemana continues his run, and it's well defended by Spurs. And Jude Bellingham, of all people, gets the ball away. He's been pretty quiet. And to be fair, considering the amount of quality players that Spurs have had in the likes of Jude Bellingham and Neymar and now Richarlison to bring the ball forward, it is unbelievable that they find themselves in the second half, or the bottom half, sorry, of the table. But they continue to go. Neymar! Neymar into the back of the net. And just as I was saying, with the level of quality that Spurs somehow find themselves in their starting 11, they go 2-0 up here. Well, it was slack defending at the back. I don't know what on earth both Joe Gomez and Bella Kotchap were doing, and when you give Neymar, of all people, that much time and space in the box, look at that with the outside of the foot, he will make you pay, and he gives Spurs a 2-0 lead. Livramento into Renato Sanchez, twisting, turning, trying to see if we can get any sort of foothold into this game. That is a horrendous challenge from Vitina, and it is a straight red card from the referee. Well, if we look at the replay, oh, that is absolutely horrendous. One of the worst challenges I've ever seen on this game, and he can have no complaints whatsoever. James Ward-Prowse to take the free kick, goes short into Bella Kotchap. I don't really have too many options, and it's a poor pass that Emerson Royale can intercept. Basuma to bring the ball forward for Spurs, into Neymar with 10 men. They almost looked to get a third, but Bazunu was yet again on hand. Emerson Royale will take the corner, and he will take it short into the path of Neymar, but it's Livramento with a thumping challenge, and he can now bring the ball forward, and he's got acres of space to run into down this right hand side and run into it. He will do just that. Continues his run. Onuachu's there. I'm going to look for a cutback into James Ward-Prowse, and James Ward-Prowse smashes it into the top left-hand corner, and he gets us a route right back into this game. Well, look at this for a run from Livramento from his own box into the box of Spurs, and he picked out a beautiful ball into James Ward-Prowse, and that is a sensational finish. And with 5 minutes left, we are right back into this game. Jude Bellingham for Spurs. We only have moments remaining in this game to try and desperately see if we can get an equaliser here, as Dooku brings it forward into Guendouzi, into Onuachu. Onuachu out wide to Livramento. Lovely stuff here from the Southampton players. Livramento looks for options. He finds an option in Renato Sanchez. He finds James Ward-Prowse, and it's deflected into Davinson Sanchez. Dooku picks it up again, whips it back in, looks for Onuachu. Oh, it's an overhead kick straight at the goalkeeper. That was the opportunity, and what a leveller that would have been, but it is not enough. The referee blows the whistle. The Spurs players celebrate. With 10 men, they've managed to hold on, and they've secured a much needed 3 points, as at full time it finishes Southampton 1, Tottenham 2. Well, I tell you what, he has that something special, and he almost showed it yet again against Spurs. Had that gone in, his stock at this club would have gone up even further than it already is. But unfortunately it didn't, and unfortunately it means that whilst we stay at the top of the table, United now have a game in hand, and if they win it, they can claw the points back to only 3. We only have 13 games remaining in this Premier League campaign. Are we going to pull off an absolute miracle? Hopefully I can see you again next time to find out. Thanks everyone for watching.